Hi, and welcome to The Writing Biz. This is where we take care of the business of writing. This episode is part 2 of our 4-part series on self-publishing. And on tonight's show, we're going to talk about building your publishing team, who you may need, how to hire them, how to manage the team, things like that. My guest is the ever-knowledgeable Charlotte Pierce of Pierce Press, and she's also the co-president of Independent Publishers of New England. She has a lot of experience and understands quite a bit about publishing and how to get out the best product that she can. Hi, Charlotte. How are you?
Hi, Laura. It's good to be here.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us a bit about what you offer at Pierce Press and let us know a little bit about IPNE before we get started?
Sure. Yeah, we've been really busy on both fronts, but Pierce Press is we have 3 imprints. We have a children's imprint called GiggleQuick Books, which is the name of a book that I grew up with, and I just loved it, so I called my children's line that. And I just acquired another book for that, and we have an alternative education imprint, which is called Peeragogy Books, and the Peeragogy Handbook is the flagship edition in that line, but I'm actually looking for some alternative education manuscripts at the risk of getting flooded from your audience. But you know, I think you know, homeschooling and stuff like that, I really like to get into some, you know, different ways of you know, of learning and production too, but like maker movement stuff and things like that. And then I have a travel arm that's an imprint that's the DayTripper guides, travel guides are published under. So that's Pierce Press. I do a little freelance as well, but I've been involved with the Independent Publishers of New England, which is an affiliate of IBPA, Independent Book Publishers Association. Yeah, all these acronyms that you get under your hat. Anyway, we're an affiliate of theirs, or an independent organization, but we are in the 6 New England states. I think we're the largest geographical area of all the affiliates of IBPA. But we're coming up on a really busy fall, and I think I've talked to you about the book shows that we have coming up, and that's one real advantage that our members have, is being able to cooperatively market. So instead of paying $500 to have a table at the Boston Book Festival, you can pay $20 and be represented through IPNE. And in addition to that, BBF doesn't allow self-published authors to individually exhibit. So they do allow Independent Publishers of New England as an organization that sort of vets these exhibitors or these authors, and so that's really exciting. It's really busy. I mean, I talked a little bit today. What's that?
That right there is a reason to join IPNE all by itself. I
Yeah.
mean, without all the other programs that you offer and all the other programs IBPA offers, that right there is a wonderful.
It really is. I mean, it's only $50 to join, and you get, I mean, just one book show, you'd have it paid for way many times over. But yeah, I was going to say that it's in terms of your topic tonight, you know, building a publishing team or drafting a publishing team, fishing for a team. IPNE has historically been a really good way to connect with other professionals in the publishing business, and you know, we have my go-to book editor that I've found. She was a former board member of IPNE and is a member. So there's lots of team building opportunities. And I'm not just touting our organization. There's about 23 affiliates of IBPA and lots of other writing organizations. But IBPA really does, and IPNE, focus on the process of publishing.
And I think sometimes, too, that a lot of writers don't take advantage of those organizations the way that they should and realize really how beneficial they can be in helping them not just sell books, but create a better book, because it's a learning experience. Those
Right.
interactions that you have with people, that networking, you're exchanging ideas, coming up with new ways to do things, learning about things that you didn't know before. And I
Yeah.
mean, it could be very, very important information to have.
Yeah,
So
and a lot of writers and authors have their writing group, which is a great place, but it's just more people that don't necessarily know how to achieve a good-looking, good quality, good selling book. So, it's good to get to work on your writing craft. You have to have a good book or it won't sell anyway. But knowing how to produce it, it's just like going the distance.
Well, honestly, and I mean, this, I don't know if I should say this, but even if you don't have a great book, if you know how to market it well, you're going to make money. So I mean, it's all of that. I think the reason I said that is because I was writing something earlier today, and the idea was behind it is a lot of people are so scared to enter the publishing space because they don't think they're good enough, and you're your worst critic. And even if you don't have, this is particular with the story I was the point I was trying to make. Some people have great, cool things happen in their lives, or can dream up wonderful environments and wonderful stories, but they may not be the best writer. That's what really good editors are for.
Yeah,
honestly.
and as a writer, you need to kind of reach out to someone who can help you make your writing better. It's like a coach. My rowing coach, I could get out there and just say, well, I'm just going to practice. I know how to do this. But she every time she tells me something that makes a complete world of difference. And I think there's a really good analogy to be drawn there. But yeah, so when I think, and there's a lot of people that tend to not, like the never-ending book. You can never really get it done because it's never really good enough. I mean, there is something to just saying, enough. It's gonna have to fly.
I just wanted to say something. We have Gail Harris in the audience, and she was saying that you want to know if this could be viewed on Google Plus, which it can. But then also, and if you just go to you can go to Laura B. Williams' profile, and you can go right to it if that's easiest for you. But you can. We're getting your comments on YouTube too. It doesn't matter which one you watch it through. That's
right. I've actually done that both.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter which one, Gail. Whichever one you're comfortable with. Since you're already on YouTube, I would just stay there. So that's that.
It goes to YouTube, and there's no way to comment. But maybe it's just not obvious. Yes, Gail is doing a book launch, and Gail has a book called Finding Zoe. It's a story of a memoir co-written with Brandy Raris, a deaf rights advocate and former Miss Deaf America.
Put up on Facebook.
Were you on that? Were you on that hangout with Gail?
No. No, I need to go back and watch it. But
anyway, the book's coming out October 7th, and she's got a whole bunch of stuff planned. But she has, she's really embraced the publishing process, and it's just wonderful to see, that knowledge grow, and she just, uses every bit of information that she comes across, like she did it right.
Oh, that's what she said. She's still on Google Plus, but the screen gets really big, and there's not a comment string. Gail, let me tell you, there were other Hangout hosts who have the same problem today. It's not you.
Yeah, that might be the whole thing. Yeah, I couldn't even run my show yesterday.
I tried to make some comments on a show of a friend of mine, and there wasn't any way to comment. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I apologize, and it's nothing directly that we can.
Ronnie Bincer said maybe it's a good thing because it might mean that they're doing something
Yeah, some type of
Cool
update.
with Google. Yeah, they're changing something, adding some bells and whistles. But yeah, I mean, so go ahead. What did you want to talk about?
That a lot of times people think self-publishing means that you do it all by yourself, which is not necessarily true. There's very few people that can do it all by themselves and do it well. I mean, unless you're basically an editor, a designer, a writer, a marketer, and everything all at once, I don't know how you would manage to wear all those hats well.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get something done, but the product probably is not what you really want to put out.
And like we said, you know, at the outset, and it's not just because I'm a member of this organization, but an actual publishing organization that, or a group of people that are writers and publishers. There's lots of groups around. I mean, that can be a good place to start and get, but just, you know, find out, do a self-assessment, find out what you're good at. You know, if you want to do design and you're really good at design and you know the tools, then try it. But also ask somebody, run it by somebody. That's where Google Plus can come in really handy. There are dozens, hundreds, if not hundreds, of communities where you can run ideas by, and I know I see a lot of people in my communities putting up like book covers, you know, 5 book covers. Do you like this one, this one? Remember when Jason Frasca did that? And you know, so that's a good way to, if you're trying to economize. You know, it's going to take a little longer than just calling your subcontractor.
Well, but, it's really powerful stuff. But the thing is that if you, like you were saying about the organizations, going back to that, if you have that outside influence, it helps you avoid some very costly and time-consuming mistakes.
Yeah.
You have spent a long time trying to learn how to do your own book cover, learn the tools and everything, and you can't come up with something you're satisfied with. You probably could have spent that time doing something else.
And I had another author who I love the manuscript, but she came with a bunch of illustrations that her aunt had done, and they were, you know, not bad drawings, but I would never publish them.
Right.
It didn't just turn you on to. It's hard to describe without showing you, but so I kind of tried to gently suggest, and she was into it, you know, that we could look around for a more appropriate style of art.
And that's the thing, that you know, you get that extra eye, and you get that somebody to tell you when you need to stop something.
Right. And a good way, I mean, just if people are out there listening, like thinking like, how do I, you know, I've got all these referrals or names or something, you know, go to their website, look at their work. They should not be afraid to send you recent examples of their work, and most important, well, almost as equally important, is references. You know, if you don't know the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then, you know, you could do a trial period. Make sure you have a contract with that person or a letter of agreement. Right. Unless they're just working by the hour and they're going to invoice you. But sometimes with designers and editors, if I don't have a lot of cash flow going for that book already, I will do a cooperative publishing agreement. So, you know, when the book starts selling, they'll get a portion of it. So as a self-publisher, but what is the most important thing in your writing biz, Laura?
The most important thing? To write.
To have a business plan.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's part of it, is taking that evaluation from your business plan into building your team. Yeah. And you know, this is my business outside of this show is I'm a freelance writer, and I also do graphic design, even though I don't do the design as often anymore. But that being said, one of the things that I know a lot of people have trouble with is hiring freelance writers, designers, or anything, especially over the internet. Now, it's a lot of times it's better to do it over the internet because you'll find people with more competitive pricing that way.
Yeah, I have not been successful at, you know, like Fiverr or whatever those.
No, and that's, you know, let's say if I wanted to do a transcription of the show, that is something there's only one way to do it. It's a black and white thing. Boom, it's done. I would go to Fiverr somewhere to have something like that done.
Yeah.
But if I wanted somebody to design a book cover for me or design the interior of my book, I need somebody who has special knowledge to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it's sensitivity to the content. You know.
Exactly. So you really have
it's really hard to communicate that to someone in another culture or in another, you know, just over the internet.
Yeah.
That, you know, what.
You really have to know what you're looking for, but you also have to make sure that you thoroughly vet the person that you're hiring and make sure that they have good work and good references and everything. My best clients that I have are the ones that ask me a ton of questions, because to me that means that they care enough. They're going to be easier for me to work with because they care about what they're doing and they have somewhat of a grasp of what needs to be done. The person that calls me and says, I need some content for a website, but I'm not real sure what I want it to say. You know, I do.
That's a recipe for disaster, because when you come up with something, they're going to say, "Well, that wasn't what I meant at all."
Right, and I'm not. I mean, I'm nice to my clients, but I'm not a hand holder. I'm not going to babysit them through it. There's other people that have a lot more patience. And
they're not going to end up wanting to spend all the money that it's going to take to go through, you know, go back and rewrite it and all that. So.
Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, somebody who really gets what you're doing, you're more valuable to them.
Right. So, I mean, another thing that you can have as a writer for the publishing business is just like a publishing coach. And if you want to be your own business, I mean, the first thing that you need to do if you want to have your own publishing, if you want to be a self-publisher, is to get your ISBN number through, I think it's just this weirdest site, but it's Bowker's company, and it's called myidentifiers.com. It's a complicated, yucky site, but it's the only game in town, basically. It's like your Social Security number for your book. So, and if you're going to go with another publisher, or with a traditional publisher, or, you know, even a small independent one, that's what you're going to give up, or you can. You know, usually they will hold the ISBN if they're going to publish you on their own list.
Right.
So, but if you're talking about self-publishing like you are tonight, you know, get that ISBN, and then you're in control of your destiny a little bit more that way.
Yeah. But you just have, that's a very good point. And the other thing is you have to be really aware of that learning curve and make sure that your publishing venture is your business, and you run it like a business, and you treat it like a business. So being a business, you have your products, you have your distribution, you have your employees, and all of that, and you need to treat it like that. So when you hire somebody outside to take care of all these little pieces that you need to take care of, you need to be able to manage them. You need to be able to sit back and say, oh, you be able to give them a plan. This is what I want. This is when I need it. You know, they need structure too. And the reason is because if you throw somebody work and you say, oh, just get it to me whenever, they're going to get it to you whenever.
They're going to put that on the lowest rung of their priority
list. And you're going to be busy doing all the other things that you need to do, and all of a sudden you realize, you know what, oh my gosh, I need that next week. And you call this guy and say, hey, do you have that done? The guy's like, well, you told me whenever.
So be clear with people, I think, is the biggest thing, and then
drop a simple contract. You can find them on the internet. Just giving make sure you have the price in line, make sure that you have a time frame and what's expected, you know, some type of a little bit of structure of the project.
Yeah, I mean, even a letter of agreement is better than nothing, and you will be glad when you come back. It's like a business plan. You're going to come back to it and say, you can always revise it, you know,
Right.
if you're
Right.
if you're not satisfied.
Yeah. Gail was saying in the comments that she recently got really lucky with Fiverr for found an animator, and
Oh, really? Oh, she's
yeah,
doing.
she says it's still in the works, but she's real happy with what's been done so far, so she's going to keep us posted. I'd be very interested to see what he comes up with, or she, I should say. I don't think she said either he or she, so
Yeah, right.
one or the other. But
Yeah,
that would
I mean, there's some of that stuff, like some of those farm, you know, out places like Elance and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, I just feel kind of horrible paying somebody nothing for creative work.
Yeah, that's true too. And I think that the thing is, I mean, and we all know this, that have ever looked on those sites, sometimes you run into the problem with design where it all starts to look the same.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
and it just doesn't have any real creativity to it. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that's like that you don't really, you know, you just need a pamphlet, not a pamphlet. Well, that's probably even if you give them the artwork and you just need a pamphlet to design.
Like if it's a technical manual or something like that, you know, you don't want to get into some like Gothic drawing or something. You want it to look like a technical book. Yeah.
I also want to talk about like managing the team. That's not easy for everybody. I mean, most writers have not had to manage groups of people or a business or anything like that, and it can be
tough.
really
it's tough for me. You know, it really is. I think the systems, the technology that I have, like Evernote and Google Drive, those things really help to organize me. I just give every new author a folder on Google Drive. They have it. There's images, there's documents, there's business contracts in that folder, and then, you know, I put a 1 in front of the folder name so it comes up on top if it's sorting by alphabetically. And, you know, those little devices are really important for me because I've got so many balls in the air that, you know, I can't just keep them all in my mind. And I'm not a paper filer person, and half of it's not on paper anyway. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not either. I mean, I use paper.
But managing it, I think, being clear with your expectations, is probably the best thing, and that, you know, that will force you to like set a deadline to specify what you want to pay, what you expect to pay, what they expect to get. So, and
next
again, you know, if you don't
financing, so that's going to help you understand where you can get money.
Oh, good, yeah.
Things,
well, you know, if you have a track record too, a cooperative publishing or collaborative publishing, I think you call it, it's worked for me. I mean, it's pretty good because as book sales start happening, and you divide it according to the plan. So.
Right. Yeah, and then there's programs too, like we were talking yesterday, just privately. Asana, and I'm not particularly fond of Basecamp. What was the other one? What was it?
Freedcamp. I'll put it.
And there's several other project management softwares that, if you're not using them for a big organization, are free. They can really help you structure things. And what I like I use Asana. They're basically all similar. Is that you can assign tasks to different people. You can follow them. You can, see what their work is, in a nice, understandable way. There's a calendar. I mean,
can you do a timeline? Like, can you take your book and set a publication date and then work back from that on Asana?
I know what you're saying. Like, not in an actual timeline structure, but like what I don't know, this does apply or doesn't apply. Like when I do my shows, I have all my shows planned out to the end of the year. So I have all my shows in there. Well, each show is divided into 5 or 6 different parts, things that need to be done by a certain time. So I have already plugged those into the calendar to be alerted to do those parts at that time. So the answer, I guess, is yes. I just had to think about it a second.
Because there are certain things that you need, like you need to start your publicity a few weeks, if not like 3 months ahead of time. You should have your publicity plan.
Absolutely. That's the other thing too, that teams don't work without plans. You have to have some plans in place, and you have to when you go to structure something and say, okay, I need this by December 15th. Well, you need to also set in reminders, at least 2 in between now and then, to remind you to go to that person and see what they've done so far if they haven't contacted you. And make sure they're doing what first of all, you're happy with what they've started, because you don't want them to go all the way to the end of the project and be done with it, and now it's completely different than what your vision was. So you want to make sure that you really kind of, have some checkpoints in there to make sure the work's getting done, that you're happy with the work, and that whoever you hired is on task. Because if you do it that way, you may notice a month before, this joker doesn't know what he's doing. Well, then you have a month to find somebody else, and that's doable.
Yeah.
But a week is not.
And I always miscalculate the time, the things that need to be done before the publication date. It's really easy to think that you can do all that in 6 weeks or something. And in self-publishing, the cool thing about it is that you can do things a lot faster than a big publisher.
No, that's true. That's absolutely true.
You can, but you have to be in the zone and handle and keeping track of all the people that you're depending on to do the things that you aren't doing yourself.
Yeah, you just have a lot more control over it. I mean, it's it is a better place to be, honestly.
Right.
I mean, I shouldn't have said it that way. That's not necessarily true, but it's doable if you do it right.
Yeah.
But going back to we're getting ready to close because we were going to get done a little early tonight. But going back to the beginning of the conversation, the very best way to build a team, to find the people that you need, and to make sure that they're going to do a good job for you, is to listen to other people that they've done work for them, talk to people, find out what they've done, what they were like working with, and
there's a lot of people in your shoes. There's a lot of people just starting out in self-publishing now, and take the steps you need to take. You don't rush things, and you can then keep your eyes and ears open to how you're going to rise above all the other noise out there, because this is a flood. Self-publishing is a flood, and you can do it. If you have a good idea, a good book, a good angle, a good niche, you can do it. It's just being aware and mindful of what you need to bring on board to supplement your own talents.
One more thing I wanted to say too is trust your experts. If somebody makes their living as an editor or a designer or a publisher, and you've hired them and they're helping you get your product out, I know often, this is our baby. This is the way we want it to be. Well, you have to let go of some of that. Because they do know what they're talking about if you have found the right people, and you have to trust them. If they're telling you that, no, the cover is not going to be blue for whatever reason, it'll look better green, listen to them.
Yeah.
It's all about selling the book. It's not about... You have to pull your ego out of it a little bit. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think it should be fun. It should be your passion. It should be about getting your thoughts out to the world. And if there, like I said, there's so many people in your shoes just starting out. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
No, because that's how you learn.
Yeah, and you'll find it. I mean, if you're like me at all, you'll find that many aspects of it are just a blast. It's like figuring out a puzzle. So
I was cutting up one of my prior shows yesterday with Don Stevens. We were talking about platform. But the part I'm getting at is that this particular clip was on follow your influencers, because it was saying that if you follow the people that are doing what you want to do and they're doing it well, you're going to learn so much faster than any other method of learning by listening to what they're saying, reading what they're writing, and paying attention to what they're producing. And I mean,
that's
just like
a very good point. Yeah.
Francis Caballo, Nina Amir, Joel Friedlander, and I know I mention these names all the time, but seriously, those are brilliant people. They're sharing their knowledge with you. Their programs that they offer aren't expensive, and they're worth every single penny to get involved with them.
Yeah, and there's great indie authors, self-publishers all over Google Plus and elsewhere, but that you can follow. If anybody wants to contact me, I'd be happy to, connect you with a few. There's a woman up in Vermont that's got this Green Mountain Publishing or something. It's all sustainable books and some yoga and stuff like that. And
wonderful.
They're just having a blast, just like these little Vermont farmers doing cool stuff, and they get it. They get the social media, and they're out there kind of telling people about it because they believe in it. It's really fun. Yeah.
And Vermont's a great place to farm. It's just beautiful to start with.
I know, it's so picturesque. It's unbelievable.
It is.
I think they get out there and snip the grass with little scissors and get out there with the little watering cans and make their pastures all green.
I can see you out there with your big straw hat.
Yes, I'm a farm girl, Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, let's keep the conversation going. If anybody has questions,
absolutely.
There are no silly questions.
And everybody who knows myself or Charlotte, our doors are always open.
Yeah. And for things that are more about the publishing, the nuts and bolts of publishing, we have indie office hours on Tuesday and at noon. And Laura's the co-host of that along with me, and we talk about, like I said.
And that's a great show to follow, even if you are planning on hiring a team and not but it's because you learn little bits of everything, and it'll help you.
It'll help you pick those professionals that you need. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we're amazing. Almost forgot to say that.
Yes. Well, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Laura.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. And if you could just let the audience know where they can find you and what we can look forward to in the next few months with IPNE. It's just amazing to me that we're almost towards the end of the year now. So
I know. We've been working together for a while now.
I know.
But yeah, so IPNE has 3 book shows. There's still time to register. You don't have to be in New England. You can just have us represent your books. And it's IPNE.org, IPNE.org. And so then those are over in October, and then we start preparation for our spring conference and book awards. So the book awards, those are really, last year was the first year, and they were really helpful for people to have.
Neat.
Yeah, so that's cool. And then Pierce Press will be coming out with another Peeragogy handbook at the first of the year, and continuing with the DayTrippers production and the children's books. So I'll tell more about that in another session.
Oh, wonderful. Good for you. Good for you. Next week we're going to continue our 4-part series on self-publishing, and we're going to discuss financing in your publishing journey. The week after that, I have Penny Stanseverian. I know I didn't say that right. And she is going to discuss publishing platforms with us. I want to thank everybody who's watched and who is going to watch or listen on the podcast. You can find past episodes of all resources and a lot of different tools that we mentioned on the show at thewritingbiz.com. And while you're there, please join our newsletter. That way you'll never miss another episode, and you'll get even more resources that can help you in your writing biz. You can watch this as a podcast on Stitcher Radio or iTunes. And if you can, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a review. Charlotte, thank you again for joining us, and thanks to everyone who's watching or listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Okay, great.
Yep, thanks.